Hello and welcome. Thank you for watching this interview. My name is Wendy Byford. I'm the co-founder and president of Your Entity Solution and the founder of Yes Roundtable, where we take women from startup to scale. If you are a woman who has done her proof of concept, you're making money, but it's all through hustle and instinct, and do not have the infrastructure yet to be able to scale, then we want to talk to you. Today, my special guest is Mark Stile. Mark is a business therapist and the founding principal of On the Mark Advisors. He helps intelligent small business owners and entrepreneurs get unstuck, unstressed, and unstoppable. Doesn't that sound absolutely great? Business owners who work with Mark value being able to leverage their own strengths and talents in ways that they never imagined, enabling them to bridge the gap between their future business vision and current business reality by achieving sustainable breakthrough performance. Thank you so much, Mark, for being here and for allowing our viewers to get to know you.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Wendy.
So, short form, Mark, what do you do?
Well, I think you kind of covered it. I'm a business therapist, in which many of your viewers probably have not heard that term before.
No.
And that's deliberate because what I do is different from what a typical business coach or advisor would do. Not what they would do normally is a cookie cutter formula, they say is a proven method. And what I do is very different. I meet my clients where they are at. I have a highly customized approach with them, helping them, like you said, get unstuck, unstressed, and unstoppable. And I equate that to getting into a state of flow where they are doing the things that they love doing, that they're great at doing, and that add value. And if I can get them into those three things, usually most business owners are doing one, if that, of those three things. Once they're in that triangle of awesomeness, I just made that up. But when they're in that state of flow, I liken it to they go from looking at their watch during the day, going, "When is happy hour? I can't wait to get out of here. I hate doing this stuff." To, "Wow, where did the time go? That was awesome. I've done so much." And you can imagine the probability of success and achieving their goals goes up astronomically when they are in that state of flow versus when they're checking boxes.
So, Mark, is this more of a mindset coaching?
No, I wouldn't say that. I have 30 years of corporate and startup experience under my belt. As I know you have a lot of experience too with market leading companies, best practices, a lot of great wisdom and perspective and knowledge gained from all those years. And what I've been able to do is take all of that knowledge, all that mentoring that I did over that time, and just now apply it straight to the small business owner, the intelligent entrepreneur who is trying to figure out their strategy, is trying to figure out what their pricing should be, how their operations can be more efficient, how they can get better lead generation in their business. All of those things that I've been, in leadership positions in multiple industries doing, and helping them get to their end goal, whatever that may be for them. That's the difference between what I do and a traditional business coach. They're, set on numbers and numbers only. That may be the right goal, but there also may be some other goals, as many of my clients can attest to.
So how did you get into this? It sounds like you've got just a tremendous amount of experience. What made you want to bring it all together in this type of coaching?
Well, I'll tell you, 30 years in the corporate and startup world, I think you can relate, and many of your viewers probably can too. Slaying dragons, having the time of my life, but at some point, between the turf battles and the politics and the CYAs and the administrivia that just starts piling up in some of these organizations, I realized that I was spending more time doing things, checking boxes and looking at my watch and that kind of thing, instead of doing what I love doing, which is driving growth and value in businesses. And so I realized it's time to take everyone's advice who I've mentored who has said, you should start a second business doing this because you're so good at it, and making that my first and only business. And I did that 7 years ago. I've not looked back since. And it's the best decision I ever made.
Fantastic. Can you give us some examples of things that you've done with clients?
Sure. Well, let's see. A lot of examples. I love working the not so easy situations, like spousal teams, family businesses with multiple generations, those kinds of things that a lot of business coaches, frankly, don't touch with a 10-foot pole. So one of my recent engagements, husband and wife team, their goal was to grow their business and sell it. They were in business for like a dozen years. Their kids were starting to get into their teens. They wanted to spend more time with them. They wanted to get out and do something more that wasn't 12 hours a day and taking care of their employees and doing, just a lot of grind. And so, long story short, because I know we don't have a lot of time, over 2.5 years, I helped groom their business, getting it to the point where it was sellable. And then I helped them negotiate an exit, a very successful exit of their business. And now they are in their next phase of life and couldn't be happier. That's one example.
That's a really important example, because I've been hearing recently that there are a lot of people who are saying, that exit planning is so important. I actually asked somebody, when do you start your exit planning? He said, the day after you start the business. So
you go. So yeah, that's exactly what I would say as well. That's the right answer. You always, if you have a business that isn't totally based on yourself, that actually has some scale to it, you always need to be looking at that. That has to be maybe not front and center every day, but there should be periodic times where you're looking at where is this business going? Is it all based on me? Is everything fulcrum to what I'm doing as the leader or my leadership team? Or can this run without me? Can I take a vacation for a month and not skip a beat? That's when you know you are in a decent exit position, if you wanted to. So your options are kept open.
Right. That's really important. What else have you done with clients?
Well, I had a client who was in the corporate world. He was in hospitality. He owned his own business. It was a family business. And when the pandemic hit, everything just went completely down. And he had to exit that business. But he wasn't through. He wanted to stay in the game because he loved work. And he engaged me, and I helped him find a unique position an industry that we created for him based on his talents, his skills, and his passions. And after several months of working this out and doing some experimentation and some testing, we finally got it to the point where he was not just looking for leads. He was now in a position where he had more business than he knew what to do with. And so the problem at that point came, where am I going to get the business, like most entrepreneurs and business owners, but how do I filter this out so I'm only dealing with the people that are the best clients that I can have, not any client, right? Great position to be in. Really proud of that engagement, because we went in a very different direction than a standard business coach would go. We were thinking way out of the box as to what he did best, what he loved doing, and how he best added value. And we took those particular skills and talents and put them into a new business model for him.
Wow, that's amazing. Do you come across a lot of people who aren't done? Maybe people leaving corporate America who are like, okay, so now I'm out of corporate America where I spent so much of my time. We both understand that, right? So do you do a lot of helping them build their new identity as well as starting their new business?
That's an interesting question. I'd say the answer is partially. No, when people are in business for that long, their identity is largely their identity. So I'm not going to pretend to like completely change someone. That's how many marriages fail, frankly. I can change that person. No, doesn't always happen and rarely actually happens. So I take what they are bringing to the table, and I have some proprietary assessments that I do that help me understand, help them understand what their great skills are, but also what their not just their talents, but what their interests are and their passions, because that's equally as important. You could be great at something, but if you hate it, you're not going to be really dedicated to it and doing the best that you could possibly do it. Whereas if you love doing something and you're great at it, that's a lethal combination in a good way. And then if you're adding value to that as well, watch out, world, here I come. And success is almost, foretold. So when people are exiting that world, I look at what they've done. We find out what their crowning achievements were in that life, and then we build upon those to help get them back to that point where they were really happy, crowning achievement, getting lots of accolades, perhaps a lot of recognition. And what were you doing at that point? How do we get you back to that point?
So, Mark, if somebody's looking at what you do and saying, boy, I want to be unstoppable, right? Is there anything that they need to do before they start working with you? Should they be in a certain position, or have done certain things, or have created something that you can start working with, or what position do they need to be in?
That's a really interesting question. I don't think I would have a absolute requirement for having done really anything. I mean, obviously, I respect everyone, my clients especially, that they're doing what they need, what they feel they need to be doing. And those are questions that come out when we're doing the intake session and the assessments, what they have been doing. Again, that's the difference. In terms of homework, I'll give homework, but there's no homework up front. You're coming in, here I am, this is who I am, this is who I was, and who I want to be, and let's work with that. I don't think anyone needs to have done a certain thing or achieved anything in particular to become successful and work with someone like me to get to the point where they need to get to. I think it's really just reviewing what they've done in the past. Now, if you're a 22-year-old, that might be a different story, but you're not asking me about Gen Z, right?
No, I'm not. Okay, we are almost up with our time. So I'm going to put up how people can get in touch with you, Mark. You are the business therapist. There's your email, mstyle@onthemarkadvisors.com, and your phone number, 215-450-8900. You can also find Mark on LinkedIn, and I'm sure that he would love to have a chat to see whether or not there's a fit with what he can do for you and what you would like to have done. So, Mark, thank you so much. Really enjoyed our conversation. And I'm just going to take a minute to talk about, here we are.
But I just want to say thank you, Wendy. Wendy, you asked some amazing questions that I hadn't heard before. You made me think. I love that in an interviewer. You did a wonderful job. And for your viewers, complimentary first sessions, just to explore if there's something I can help them with. The worst case is they'll walk away with probably a great idea that they can implement, very low cost, very low effort, and we shake hands and go. So really, it's nothing to lose. Thank you.
Fantastic. For those of you who are not yet at the Yes Roundtable, if you are interested in building a foundation for your business so that you can step on that gas and scale, then please just text me at 702-462-4616, or you can go online to yourenitysolution.com/yes-roundtable and take a look at what we're offering and see if that is something good for you. And Mark, I'm going to put up your information one last time, just in case people didn't get it. And if you are interested in becoming unstuck, unstressed, and unstoppable, then please get in touch with Mark. and see whether or not there's a fit with what he has to offer. Thank you so much, Mark. I truly appreciate it. And good luck with your coaching.
Thank you, Wendy. Pleasure.